Thanks for joining me again today. Today we're going to focus our practice on creating space. We're going to begin today's practice in hero or saddle pose. I'm going to turn to the side so you can see what this pose may look like from a different angle. So I want you to lift up, you're sitting on the backs of your calves, bottom of your feet are flat. I want you to lift up and take your thumbs and roll the meaty part of your calves out to the sides. And then separate your legs about hip width apart. We're going to just sit comfortably. And if this is too much compression for you to sit in this posture, you can take your block and you can insert it right between your straddle and use that to lift you up a little higher off your mat to decrease that pressure in the fold of your legs. So we're going to just begin in that hero pose or saddle pose. And the goal is to try to allow the center part of your body to relax and drift down toward the middle of the mat. We'll stay here for a length of time. And so I want you to just, I'll turn to the front, and I want you to just comfortably sit with your hands resting on the top of your knees, closing your eyes, and we're going to focus on trying to breathe deeply. We're going to do a breath exercise to start our practice today. It's called alternate breath work or alternate nostril breathing. So you're going to take your ring finger, your middle finger and your pointer finger and place it right between your eyes, and you're going to take your thumb and close the left side of your nostril and breathe all the way your inhale through your right. And when you're ready to release that breath, you're going to take your ring finger and close off the right nostril and breathe out through the left. So you're alternating back and forth, closing off the left as you breathe in, and closing off the right to breathe out. Closing left, breathe in. Closing right, breathe out. Keep going with that alternate nostril breathing. Breathing in and breathing out. All right, let's switch hands. You're going to take the opposite hand, place those fingers right between your eyes, close off your right nostril, breathe in through your left. Close off left nostril, breathe out. Alternate breathing in through the right, the left, and then close it off, breathing out through the right. Continue that breath work, just alternating nostrils, closing and exhaling. All right, that is a very good breath work to help give you a sense of being grounded. It will help calm you if you ever have instances where you need to step away and respond to a situation instead of react. You might want to think about doing some of those breath exercises. Those are very good therapeutic ways to help calm your system down, connect with your breath, and just take a step back to respond instead of react to a situation. So let's stay in that saddle pose or that hero pose for just a few more moments. Just let your hands rest comfortably on the top of your thighs. Close your eyes and just let your breath be natural. Breathing in through your nose, taking that pause between your inhales and exhales, and then let your exhale roll out. All right, let's go ahead and let's bring our hands in front of our knees. I'm going to turn around and we're coming into tabletop. We're going to do a little bit of some hip work to begin with. So we're going to step forward with that right foot and coming into a kneeling lunge. In our kneeling lunge, we're going to bring our hands to the top of our thigh and we're going to shift our weight into the front of our hips, dropping our hips toward the middle of the mat. And this may be enough for you today. If this is the best place your body needs to be, then honor that. If you feel like you can take a little bit more intensity, we're going to turn this into a flying dragon, which means we're going to drop that left hand down to the mat and we're going to take and roll that right foot up off the mat, and we're going to take our hand and slightly push our leg out to the wall on that right side. You want to stay grounded. Now, if you'd like, you can always take your gaze also to the corner of the room as you allow that knee and that leg to drop up into the wall. This is called Dragon Flying High. You can also, if you need to, bring a block over. If you need a little bit more height, then let your hand rest on that block. And we're slowly going to come back up to the center. We can go ahead and bring that top hand back up to the top of your thigh and shift your weight forward into those hips and just come into a little bit of a kneeling lunge for a moment. Bringing both hands back down to the mat, let's go ahead and bring that right leg back into our neutral tabletop. And before we go to the other side, we're going to take a deep inhale, and as we exhale, we're going to come into an extended child pose. So dropping your hips toward your heels and then lengthening through your fingertips, dropping your forehead down between your arms, resting your forehead on the mat. Lifting up, lifting your hips, coming out of that child's pose, bringing your knees back to the center of your mat. Let's step into that dragon on the opposite side. So you're bringing your left foot forward and you're lifting your hands, letting them rest on the top of your thighs. Shift your weight forward, let your hips fall to the middle of your mat and rest in this dragon posture. If this is where you need to stay, then by all means, are where you need to be. If your body allows today, let's drop that right hand down to the mat. You can pull your block over if you need to. And you're going to take that left hand and you're going to roll that left foot up off the mat and use that hand to gently push your leg open to the wall for dragon flying high. And if you'd like, you can take that gaze to the crease of the wall and the ceiling or to the corner of the room. As you stay in this posture, you want to let your hips sink to the middle of your mat as much as possible to feel that opening in the front of your hips and also on the outside of this hip on the left. Slowly roll that left foot back down to the mat. Bring your hands to the top of your thigh. Shift your weight into your hips and settle there for just a few breaths. All right, let's transition now to a seated posture. So you can bring that left leg back around and you can come to the long edges of your mat. We're going to come into a dragonfly. So our legs are spread as wide as we would like. Relax your toes. You want to relax your legs, not blocking out your knees. We're going to sit nice and tall for a moment. If you need to, you can bring your block over. And if you can land your forehead there, then you'll have that block to help support you. If today is not going to be one of those days where you can come into that fold for that depth, then you can bypass the block. So let's bring our hands to the center, sit up nice and tall, take a few inhales and exhales just to ground you to the mat. And when you're ready on your next inhale, walk your fingertips toward the center. Let your gaze fall between your arms. And maybe on your next inhale, see if you can fold just a little deeper into this posture. If you get to the point where you feel like you can rest your forehead on that block, you can grab it. And as you continue to take your breaths, let your breath take you into the fold in this posture for where you need to be, honoring where your body needs to be in the posture. We are going to hold this posture for a length of time. So if you become uncomfortable, always feel as if you can come out of this posture anytime you're ready. Flip your palms over, and on your next inhale, slowly begin to walk your hands back toward the center of your body. Come back up to a seated posture. You can move your block off to the side. All right, let's bring our legs out to the front, and we're going to do a staff pose. So our staff pose helps kind of reset and realign our spine. Drop your fingertips right behind your hips. Fold your elbows into the center of the back of the room, and lift with your inhale, and let your exhale roll all the way down to your tailbone. All right, let's go ahead and transition around to our back. And we're going to do a little bit more breath work in some of these poses. I don't think you'll need your block right away. All right, as you come down onto your back, just situate yourself into the middle of your mat, and we're going to do what we call butterfly arms. And so we're going to take our right arm, and we're going to tuck it right up under, roll up on your side, tuck it up right between your shoulder blades in the back, right in the middle of your back if you can. Palm is facing down. Then roll your body weight back onto that hand that's right tucked up under your back. You're going to take your left hand, and you're going to lift your head and place that hand with the back of your head either resting in the palm of your hand or right above your wrist. The goal is to allow your shoulders to open toward the mat and relax. So you want to just close your eyes. Your knees can stay bent, or you can bring the soles of your feet together and allow your knees to fall open in butterfly. So you have butterfly arms, wings, and butterfly legs. You want the weight of your body to just settle and become heavy in this posture. You want to let those shoulders open with some of the space that your breath will allow. Begin to fold your knees back to the center. Roll over onto your side. Untuck that right arm out from behind your back. And then untuck your left arm from behind your head. Come back to your back. And we're going to take our arms, reach above your head, and we're going to cross our left up on the top, our right arm on the bottom, and we're going to walk our fingertips toward the center of our back and just give yourself a big hug as if you're reaching for the center of your back. Relax your elbows, let it rest on the top of your chest, and with your fingertips, just use that pressure to pull your shoulder blades as if you're pulling the back of your shoulders to the front of the room. Alright, let's uncross our arms and let them come back down by our side. Now we're going to do that butterfly wings on the opposite side. So you're going to take that left hand, roll onto your right side, tuck that hand palm facing down, right in the center of your back, reaching up between your shoulder blades as much as you can, and then rolling your body weight back down to the mat. We're taking that right arm and we're going to let that back of our head rest either in the palm of our hand or right above our wrist. And the goal is to allow your shoulders and your elbows to rest comfortably to the mat. You want to let everything open. And now if you'd like, you can let the soles of your feet fall together and bring your legs in butterfly. Bring your heels up close to the center of your body if it helps give you that sensation of opening your knees out to the sides of the room. Alright, slowly bring your knees back to the center. Untuck, roll up, untuck that left arm, untuck your right arm, and come back to the center. Alright, with our knees still up to the ceiling, let's just windshield wipe our knees from side to side. Bring your feet off the floor, bring your knees in table. And then we're going to reach and bring our knees to our chest, either holding on to the top of our shins or the back of our thighs. Let's place our hands on the top of our knees and drive your knees clockwise, big, round, nice circles. And now let's reverse and go counterclockwise. Let's bring our right foot back down to the floor, our left knee hugging it to our chest, and then very slowly as you exhale, extend that left leg long as if you're reaching your breath out through the bottom of your heel. And then very slowly extend that right leg to the ceiling, reaching, holding on behind the back of your thigh or the back of your calf, and bring your toes toward your forehead. Keep somewhat of a slight bend in that knee. If your hamstrings are tight, try not to lock that knee out. Try not to create tension in that back of that hamstring area. Slowly put a bend back in that left knee and bring it back to table. And then extend both legs up to the ceiling as if your bottom of your feet are touching the ceiling. This is called legs up the wall. Just hold your legs effortlessly to the ceiling. You can use your hands to bring your toes toward your forehead. You want to feel the back of your tailbone pushing down onto the mat. Let's slowly begin to drop that right foot down to the floor, and let's bring those toes on that left leg toward our forehead as we exhale and extend that right leg long to the mat. Now let's slowly put a bend in that left knee. Bring your knee toward your chest on that left side. Just take an inhale and use your hands to bring that knee closer to your chest, either on the top of your shins or the back of your thigh. Now let's go ahead and take our right hand, place it on the outside of our left thigh. We're going to take our left hand, bring it out to the side, away from our body. And as you take an exhale, let's go ahead and revolve that left knee across that right extended leg. And you want to see if you can allow that shoulder on your left to stay grounded and your chest to be open to the ceiling. Your knee on this left side may not touch the floor. You can prop your foot on the inside of your thigh, or if you have your block, you can insert a block up under that knee. You can use the weight of your hand on that right side to just allow your body to open with your breath. And let's go ahead and take our gaze in the opposite direction as our knee. So take your gaze over to the left. Very slowly, let's roll all the way back down to our back and drop that left foot down to the floor. Bring your right knee up to the ceiling and just windshield wipe your knees from side to side. Let's extend that left leg long. Bring that right knee up off the floor, foot off the floor, and then we're going to bring our right arm out slightly away from our side, and we're going to take an exhale, and we're going to revolve that right knee across our left extended leg. And you'll notice that one side is going to be tighter than the other. You want to try to keep that shoulder to the floor and your chest open as much as possible. If that's challenging to keep a bend in that knee, you can always straighten that leg out and take it out at a diagonal if that helps you roll into the posture. Again, you can let that foot on that right leg just rest comfortably on the inside of your left thigh. Now slowly take your gaze over to that hand on the right and just relax. Very slowly, let's roll back to the center. Bring both knees up to the ceiling and just windshield wipe your knees from side to side. Now when we come back over to the right side, let's keep our knees close together. Stack your knees and then rotate and let both knees fall over to the right. Your chest is open, your arms are in a T. So your knees are dropping to the floor. And then take your gaze over to the left side. Bring your gaze back to the center. Take an inhale, bring both stacked knees up to the ceiling again. Windshield wipe your knees from side to side. Knees are touching. And this time when you get back to the left side, let's let those stacked knees fall over to the left and take your gaze over to the right. This is a spinal rotation, chest expansion, heart opener. Bring your gaze back to the center. Slowly bring your stacked knees to the ceiling. And bring your arms in by your side. And we're going to shift over onto our right side. Use your top hand and slowly make your way up to a seated posture. We're going to transition into a neutral tabletop. So in our neutral tabletop, we're going to do a few cat-cows, and then we're going to come into a few other postures while we're here. So coming into our neutral tabletop, just feel as if you're establishing your base on your mat. Fingers are spread wide, shoulders, wrists right up under your shoulders, and your knees about hip width apart. So in that neutral tabletop, we're going to do a few cat-cows. So as we come into that cow tilt, you're going to drop your belly toward the middle of your mat, lift up your tailbone, take your gaze in front of you to the crease of the wall in the ceiling. And then as you exhale, let's round into that angry cat. Drop your head, let it relax down as if the top of your head's going right between your arms. Let's flow through that posture, just inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling with our cow and exhaling round into our cat. All right, coming back to our neutral table position, our neutral position, we're going to come into a melting heart. So you're going to leave your hips stacked over your knees. You're going to walk your fingertips toward the top of your mat. And as you begin to walk your fingertips, widen out your hands out toward the sides of your mat. And then you're going to allow your chest and your forehead to begin to sink down in between your arms. Your tailbone and your hips are still lifted, just your chest and your forehead are dropping toward the mat. Try to keep your elbows lifted off your mat if you can. If that's too much for your shoulders, you can always bring your stacked fist for your forehead. So as you exhale, just drop your chest and your forehead down to the mat. Slowly begin to lift up your forehead, lift up your chest, and we're going to keep our hips stacked over our knees, and we're going to do what we call thread the needle. So we're going to leave that left arm extended. We're going to take we're leaving our right arm extended. We're going to take our left hand and we're going to thread it right across our breast line, palm facing up. And then we're going to slowly rotate our gaze over to that right side, and we're going to let the side of our head melt down to the mat, and we want all of our weight on the outside of the shoulder. Take that right arm, use it a little bit as your kickstand arm, and lift yourself back up into that neutral tabletop. Now, before we go to the other side from our threading the needle, we're going to take an exhale, and we're going to just let our hips drop toward our heels, walk our hands back down right beside our head, and we're going to come into a little bit of a modified child's pose. If your body will allow, let your chest and your belly fall somewhat between your legs, and then let your forehead rest comfortably on your mat. Relax your shoulders for a moment. As you take your next inhale, slowly begin to lift your hips from your heels and come back to that neutral tabletop. Making sure that our hips are still stacked over our knees, we're going to thread the needle on the opposite side. So walk that left hand out toward the top of your mat. Take that right hand, thread it across your breast line, palm facing up, and then rotate your gaze over to that left hand, or that hand that's going out to the left, and let the side of your head and the side of your shoulder melt down to the mat, and extend that left arm nice and long, and just close your eyes and find your breath. Now, if that extended arm is too much, you can always drop your elbow down to the mat if you need to. Let's bring that left hand back a little closer to our head. Use it as your kickstand arm. Slowly come back up to your neutral tabletop. Now we're going to widen our knees out to the width of our mat. Bring your big toes together. And then we're going to drop our heels toward our hips. And we're going to stay a little bit lifted. I want you to just let your gaze fall right between your arms. And this is called a little bit of, considered maybe somewhat of a frog. Now you can always lift your hips from your heels and turn your feet out, and then drop your hips a little bit more back down to the mat, and drop your elbows and your forearms down to the mat, and this is considered a frog. You want to let your weight drift into your hips toward the back of the room, and your gaze is soft right between your arms. Go ahead and walk your hands back up. Come back into that neutral tabletop. And we're going to come into a Sphinx pose from here. So walking your feet and your legs back toward the back of the mat. On your next inhale, shift your weight forward into the top of your head. Come into a modified plank. Nice, long, and lengthen with your breath. And then let your exhale lower you all the way onto your belly. Bring your elbows right up under your shoulders, fingers spread wide. Tuck your toes, take them to each corner of the back of your mat. Pick up your legs, untuck everything, and then let everything relax back down to the mat. Go ahead and lift up with your breath. Take your gaze maybe straight out ahead of you. Lift and lengthen. Let your shoulders soften to the back of the room. And with your inhales, feel the pressing your belly against the mat with that inhale, and then contracting with your exhale. Let's go ahead and lower all the way back down to the mat. Walk your hands behind your shoulders, elbows glued to your rib cage. Take an inhale, lift to your modified plank. And then exhale, let's glide very slowly into a child's pose. Now let's go ahead and take our arms and fold them down by our side, palms facing up. Let your forehead rest in the middle of your mat. Let your shoulders, let your arms just rest comfortably by your side. Just let your shoulders relax. As you inhale, begin to slowly lift up, coming back to your neutral tabletop, and then coming back to a seated posture. All right, let's go ahead and roll all the way onto your back. And we'll prepare for our final posture. So once you roll onto your back, let's bring our knees to our chest and rock from side to side. All right, drop your feet down to the floor. Let's shift our hips slightly over to our left. Let's bring both heels over to the right corner of our mat. Let your left ankle rest on top of your right. And we're going to bring our arms over to the right corner of our mat. And we're going to just let our shoulders relax down to the mat. Just let your hands drape right above your head. Maybe use that right hand to bring that left arm over to that right side of your mat. This is our banana pose. So you want to just let your whole body relax and imagine your breath starting with those fingertips going down the left side of your body all the way out your left toes. Uncross your left ankle off your right. Bring everything back to the center. And you're going to just shift your hips over to that right side of your mat. Take your feet over to the left side of your mat on the bottom. And then let's bring our arms over to that left pocket at the top. You're going to cross right ankle over your left. You want to feel grounded, but you want to feel lengthened. You want to imagine your breath going down that right side of your body, just opening that side of your body. This is our banana on that opposite side. Allow your shoulders to open and relax down to the mat. Let's go ahead and bring our arms back down by our side. Uncross your right ankle and then just take it over to the right corner, leaving our left foot at the left corner of our mat. Let's bring our arms slightly down by our side, away from our body, palms facing up, and this will be our resting pose or our corpse pose. So just let everything come back to the center. Let your breath return to your own pace. And I want you to do an assessment from your head down to your toes. Just close your eyes, breathe naturally. Relax the back of your head to your mat. Let your breath go into your shoulders. Let the back of your arms and your hands soften to the floor. Let your hips feel grounded down to the mat. Let the back of your legs feel heavy to the floor. Let your feet just fall open to the sides of the room. Just notice the sensation of your chest and your belly rising and falling with your natural inhales and exhales. And as you stay here, I want you to think about the space that you have created with your practice for your body. Opening some very tight places and barely cracking open space in some of the more delicate areas. But just honoring your body, honoring your breath, and honoring your practice. Just relax. As you bring your awareness back to the room, maybe open and close your fingers. Wiggle your toes. And then very slowly, very carefully, roll to your right side. Bring your knees to your chest and let your arms be your pillow. Take some inhales and exhales through your nose and out your mouth. Take your time and slowly come back up. Meet me in an easy seated posture. Let's come into a hero pose instead, or an easy seated posture if that feels better for you. So I'd like to read the following. Hopefully in your practice today you created space in your body, calmed your mind, connected with your breath, your body, and your spirit on your mat today. Make a creative space. Give yourself the best chance to be creative. Find a place of solitude, somewhere you can put your mind on pause. Remove all mundane reminders, bills, email, etc. Make this your retreat, a place where you can stand apart from the world. An anonymous person said, imagination is the highest kite one can fly. So I do invite you to find your space, find some space in your home. Use it to step away from your daily to-do list. Step onto the yoga mat, practice for what your body may need, what your mind may need, and connect your body, your breath, and your spirit. So sitting very comfortably, just close your eyes, let your shoulders relax, notice how your body feels. Take an inhale, sweep your hands up, kiss your palms together, exhale, hands floating down by your side. Inhale and exhale. One last inhale, bring your palms together. Exhale, bring your hands to heart. The light in you guides the light in me. And we close this practice with Namaste. Be healthy, be well.